Euphoria is back. And honestly, nobody was ready for what Season 3 brought to our screens. The show that was once called a masterpiece, the show that launched Zendaya into superstardom, that made Sydney Sweeney a household name, that had people genuinely emotional and thinking about real-life issues, is now getting destroyed by critics.
Bad reviews, awkward red carpet moments, cast members who clearly cannot stand each other,
and a director who is getting called out by everyone from journalists to his own actresses.
So what exactly happened to Euphoria?
Let's get into all of it. To understand why Season 3 is such a shock to the system, you have to remember what made Seasons 1 and 2 so special in the first place. When Euphoria first dropped on HBO back in 2019, it was unlike anything on television. It tackled addiction, trauma, identity, toxic relationships, and mental health in a way that felt raw, honest, and real. Teenagers and young adults all over the world said this show gets it. This show understands what it actually feels like to go through these things. Zendaya's performance as Rue was universally praised.
She won the Emmy twice.
Sydney Sweeney as Cassie became one of the most talked-about characters on television.
The cinematography was stunning.
The soundtrack was incredible.
Critics loved it. Audiences loved it.
Euphoria felt like a once-in-a-generation kind of show. So when Season 3 was announced, expectations were through the roof.
And then the episodes started dropping. And people started talking.
But not in the way anyone expected. The reviews for Euphoria Season 3 have been brutal. And we are not talking about a few negative comments on social media. We are talking about major publications absolutely tearing this season apart. The Guardian gave the show just 2 stars, calling it a grubby, humorless piece of work that feels simultaneously voyeuristic and judgy.
Think about that. 2 stars.
For a show that was once considered one of the best on television. The Telegraph called it, and this is a direct quote from their critic, the fantasies of a creepy old man. They said the show has trapped its female leads in storylines that feel exploitative rather than empowering.
And the numbers back this up.
Rotten Tomatoes scores have dropped significantly from the first 2 seasons. Audiences are not just disappointed, they are confused. Because Season 3 feels like a completely different show made by a completely different team with completely different intentions. The big question everyone is asking is, what happened?
And the answer keeps coming back to one name.
Sam Levinson. Sam Levinson is the creator and director of Euphoria. And Season 3 has put him firmly in the spotlight. But not in a good way. Critics and fans have been pointing out that this season feels less like a story about real teenagers dealing with real problems, and more like a series of bizarre, uncomfortable creative choices that nobody asked for. Levinson has defended his decisions publicly, saying he wanted Season 3 to have more levity and humor than the previous seasons.
He said he wanted to step back and let the characters exist together and find their own rhythm. But here is the problem. The humor is not landing.
What he calls comedy, audiences are calling uncomfortable and strange. What he calls levity, critics are calling misogynistic. There is a massive disconnect between what Sam Levinson thinks he is making and what people are actually watching on their screens.
And the cast? Well,
not everyone is on the same page either. Let's talk about Zendaya for a second. Because her behavior around this season has told us everything we need to know without her saying a single word. At the Season 3 premiere, Zendaya showed up, as her contract required. She took the photos she was obligated to take.
She made her appearance. And then she left. Immediately.
There was a moment caught on camera where Sam Levinson tried to get her to stay longer, to take more photos, to stick around. And Zendaya very politely but very clearly said no and walked away.
That moment went viral. Because it said everything.
This is a woman who has 2 Emmy Awards for this role. This is the lead of the show.
And she could not get out of that premiere fast enough.
Zendaya has also been noticeably quiet about Season 3 on social media compared to previous seasons.
No excited posts. No behind-the-scenes content. No fan engagement around the new episodes.
For someone with her platform, that silence is incredibly loud. And then there is the off-screen drama between the cast members themselves, because it turns out that the tension is not just between the actresses and the director.
Some of the cast members do not get along with each other either.
The awkward relationship between Sydney Sweeney and Alexa Demie has been making headlines. At the Season 3 premiere, Sydney walked over to Alexa during a red carpet interview and gave her a hug.
On the surface it looked fine.
But fans watching the footage immediately picked up on how uncomfortable and forced the whole interaction felt. The clip went viral with thousands of comments saying the same thing. These two are clearly clearly not friends. And according to sources close to the production, they are right. Reports say that Sydney and Alexa can be professional when they need to be but go out of their way to avoid each other on set.
There is no friendship there, no love lost.
And everybody on set apparently knew it. Meanwhile, Zendaya keeps her distance from the drama entirely.
She is not taking sides. She is not commenting.
She is just doing what her contract says and staying as far away from the whole situation as possible. Honestly, respect. Now let's talk about Sydney Sweeney and her character Cassie, because this is where the audience reaction has been the most divided. Cassie's storyline in Season 3 has taken the character in a direction that many fans find deeply uncomfortable. The show has leaned into increasingly bizarre and provocative scenes for the character, and the reaction online has been overwhelmingly negative. Sydney herself has addressed some of the controversy. She told Entertainment Tonight that Cassie is a character who will do absolutely anything for fame this season. She said, and these are her words, "Cassie will not disappoint." But a lot of viewers feel like the show has crossed a line. What made Cassie compelling in seasons 1 and 2 was that she felt real. Her insecurities, her desperate need for love, her poor choices in relationships, audiences connected with that because it felt human. Season 3 Cassie feels like a completely different character,
and not in a good way.
Critics have pointed out that the show seems to be using Cassie's storyline for shock value rather than genuine storytelling. And that is the core problem with Season 3 as a whole: shock without substance,
edge without emotion,
provocation without purpose.
So where does this leave Euphoria?
A show that started as one of the most important pieces of television of the last decade is now fighting for its reputation.
Bad reviews, cast tension, a director who has lost the audience's trust,
and a fan base that is genuinely mourning the show that Euphoria used to be.
Season the third of may not be what anyone wanted,
but it has given us something equally fascinating: a behind-the-scenes story of Hollywood tension, creative disagreements, and the very public unraveling of one of TV's biggest shows. What do you think?
Are you watching Season 3? Are you loving it, or are you as confused as everyone else? Drop it in the comments right now. I want to know.
And if you want more celebrity and entertainment breakdowns like this every week, hit that subscribe button because we are just getting started.
See you in the next one.